Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this tutorial we are going to get started with the Spectre window manager. SPECTRWM is an interesting window manager because it's inspired from DWM and Xmonad. So it tries to combine the ease of these window managers and being very light at the same time. Now in this tutorial we are going to get the basic install done. So we are going to install the packages and configure the base settings. And in the next tutorial about this window manager, we are going to customize it further by working on the status bar, on the configuration file, and also by installing another lock screen. Without further ado, let's get going. So I'm assuming here that you already installed Arch Linux or you followed the tutorial of the base installation of Arch Linux. And we are ready to start the system, so we can hit enter here to start Arch Linux. And we can log in with our username and the password. And there you go. Now the fonts here on this console are a little bit too small, so let me increase them by installing a font which is the Terminus font. So to do this I'm going to type in sudo pacman-s and then terminus-font and hit enter. Enter my sudo password and install the font. There you go. And now let me type in set font ter-132n and hit enter. And now you can see the fonts better, so it's easy to see on the display. So let me clean up the terminal, and now let's begin to install the packages we need for our Spectre window manager. So this tutorial is going to focus on the basic installation of the window manager, and in the next tutorial about Spectre, we are going to customize it a little bit more in depth together with the status bar. So let's go ahead here and install the base packages we need. So let's begin by typing in sudo pacman-s. The first package we need to install here is the graphic card. So in my case, because I'm on a VM, I'm going to install a specific driver. But if you have an Intel card, you can type in xf86-video-intel. If you have an AMD card, you can type in, instead of Intel, AMD GPU. And if you have an NVIDIA card, you can type in NVIDIA and also NVIDIA-utils. You could also install NVIDIA-settings if you'd like, and this is going to work for most NVIDIA cards. But if you have an old NVIDIA card from 2010 or earlier, you might want to go to the Arch user repository and find the appropriate drivers for your card. I will leave a link to this, of course, in the video description below. So let me delete these two packages because I don't have an NVIDIA card. So my package is xf86-video-qxl. Then we need to install our display server. Now we are installing a window manager, so you don't actually need to install the whole xorg group. However, I'm going to do that because the xorg group contains a lot of fonts already available, plus many utilities which we are going to need anyway later. One of them, for example, is arandr. So I'm going to install the xorg group nevertheless. So I'm going to type in xorg. Now, if you want to use the window manager with the display manager, you can install the display manager of your choice, like DM, for example. In my case, though, I'm going to follow the Arch wiki and start the window manager with xinit. That means I need to install xorg-xinit. Next, I'm going to install a package which is going to help us to deal with wallpapers, which is nitrogen. Then a compositor, in my case, picom. A small package for taking care of our theme's appearance, which is lxappearance. I'm going to install also a terminal. In my case, I'm going to choose terminator. I'm going to install also a browser. In my case, I'm going to choose chromium. And also our Spectre package. So the package is SPECTRWM. And the last package is xlockmore, which contains the lock screen for our window manager. So let's type in xlockmore, and this is going to do it for this base installation, so we can hit enter. We can accept the defaults here and proceed with installation by hitting enter. So it's going to take a moment here to download and install, so I'll be back when it's done. So the packages are now installed, so we can clean up the terminal. And the first thing I'm going to do is to create my .xinitrc file so that I can start the window manager. So I need to copy one file in the system to my home directory. So to do this, I will type in cp and then /etc/x11 and then xinit and then xinitrc and a space. And I'm going to copy this in my home directory, and the file name is going to be .xinitrc and hit enter. There you go. Now, if we type in ls-a, you can see that we have an xinit file in our home directory. So let me clean up the terminal. And let's edit our .xinit file by typing in vim and then .xinit and hit enter. So we go down to the end of the file with Control F and delete the last 5 lines. So let me do this very quickly. I'm just hitting the D key here and enter insert mode in Vim and enter a few commands that I need for my window manager. The first one is I want to define the keyboard layout because I want to be able to type correctly when I start my window manager. So there is a command for this which is already included in the xorg group that we just installed, and the command is set xkbmap. And then we can define the connotation of our keyboard. So in my case, I have a Swiss keyboard and the connotation is CH. So I'm going to type in here CH and then enter the ampersand to tell this command to run in the background. Then I move down to the next line and I want to tell to the system to run my window manager at the full resolution. Now, this is just a basic command. We are going to configure this a little bit later when the window manager will start. But in my case, I need to have this because my virtual machine is not recognizing the resolution automatically. So the command is xrandr and then --output. The display name in my case is virtual-1 and then --mode 1920 per 1080. And again, I'm going to fix this later and I'm going to show you also how you can configure multiple displays. Then we go down to the next line and I want to define also my nitrogen, which is the program taking care of our wallpapers, so that the wallpaper is always available when we start the window manager. And the command here is nitrogen --restore. And we're going to put this also in the background by adding the ampersand. And then we go down to the next line and we define also the command for our compositor, which is picom -f for fade. And we're going to put this also in the background. And the last command here I want to enter for now is the window manager itself. So I will type in exec SPECTRWM and then I can save the file and exit Vim. Now we are not done yet because there are still some things to do before we can start the window manager. So first of all, I need to actually change something in my configuration file for my compositor because I know it's not going to work on a VM. You probably can skip this step, but in my case, I need to do it. So let me type in sudo vim /etc/xdg/picom.conf, enter my sudo password, and I need to search for the vsync option, which is right here. And I need to comment this line so that this function is not available. And then I can save the file and exit Vim. Now, again, you probably don't need to do this, but in a VM, I have to, otherwise the compositor is not going to work properly. Next, we need to copy the configuration file for our window manager into our home directory. The global configuration file is under the etc directory, so we can copy it over by typing in cp/etc/spectrwm.conf. And we're going to copy this in our home directory, and the file is going to be .spectrwm.conf. And hit enter. If we type in again ls-a, you can see we have there our .spectrwm.conf file that we will need to edit in a second. So let's clean up the terminal and open up our configuration file. So let's type in vim and then .spectrwm.conf and hit enter. Now we are going to go more in depth on this file in the next tutorial. For now, we are just going to configure the basic settings. So what we need to do right now is to search for our default programs. So I'm going to search here in Vim for program. So what we need to do here, we basically need to uncomment these 3 lines. So let me do this very quickly. Just enter edit mode here in Vim, which is going to validate the lock screen, which is in our case xlock for now. We're going to change this in the next tutorial. Down to the next line, we can define our terminal. So we need to delete here the hashtag. And the terminal in our case is not xterm, it's terminator. So I'm going to replace this. And last but not least, we are going to also uncomment the last line here for the menu, which is our application launcher. And the same goes for the search and also for the name workspace. There you go. Now we can save the file and exit Vim. Now, before we start our window manager, we have already some key bindings available for us in the system that we can copy over into our configuration file. So let's clean up the terminal. Now, the key bindings are already available for several keyboards, and you can find those in the etc SPECTRWM directory. So let's go there. Let's type in cd/etc/SPECTRWM and hit enter. Let's type in ls, and these are the key bindings for some keyboards already available to us. So for example, you have SPECTRWM_US if you have a US keyboard, and some other keyboards as well. In my case, for example, I'm going to take the FRCH because it's the Swiss keyboard. So I want to open up that file. If you choose another keyboard, of course, you can go ahead and do that. So I'm going to type in vim and then spectr_wm_fr_ch.conf and hit enter. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to copy all these lines and copy them into my configuration file. So to copy all the lines, I'm going to type in vim capital VG and then hit Y to yank the lines, and then type in the colon and tab new to open a new tab in Vim, and then go to the path for my configuration file. So it's /home/hermano.spectrwm.conf and hit enter. I'll move down to the end of the file and open up a new line here. And I'm going to paste the content by typing in P. And there you go, we have here all our configurations. So we will explore this a little bit more in depth in the next tutorial, but just to have an overview here, we can scroll down with Control F, and you can see we have all our shortcuts in there. So now we can save this file and exit Vim. And I'm going to exit this file. I didn't do any change here. And let's go back to our home directory. So now we're ready to start our window manager. So let's type in startx and hit enter. And as you can see, it seems to be working fine. We have a display here, which is gray. The resolution is correct. We have the bar on top, although we are going to configure the basic settings in a second. And let's see if our key bindings are working. So for example, to open up our terminator, we can hit the mod key, which is the Windows key, and the shift key plus enter. And you can see terminator is starting up fine. That means our key bindings are working correctly. So first things first here, let me change the configuration of my terminal. Right click, go to preferences here. I'm going to deselect the window borders, then go to profiles. And for the system font here, I'm going to bump the size up. And I'm going to choose here source code Pro Regular. And I'm going to go with 18 so that it's easier to see. I'm going to hide the title bar. And the cursor, I'm going to do an underline. I'm going to go for the colors here. And I'm going to use, in my case, green on black, which is very contrasty. And under background here, I'm going to go with a transparent background because we have our compositor. I'm going to choose here a 70%. Then go to scrolling. And I'm going to disable the scroll bar and then click close. Now you can see the configuration already takes effect. And if I close the window, we are going back to our desktop. So let's make this a little bit more pleasant to watch. So let's open up our Chromium browser by typing mod P to open up the menu and typing in here Chromium. And again, I'm going to search for nice wallpapers. So I'm going to type in Japan 4K wallpapers. And I'm going to hit photos here. And let's pick one. I'm going to choose this one right here. Select the photo. And I'm going to right click here and click Save Image As. I'm going to call this Japan. Make sure that it's in the Pictures folder and click Save. There you go. Now we can close Chromium by hitting Mod W. And I'm going to open up nitrogen again with Mod P and then type in nitrogen. And I'm going to go to Preferences, add a directory, add my Pictures directory and click Select and click OK. Select my wallpaper. And for the fill, I'm going to go with Zone Fill and click Apply. There you go. Now we can close nitrogen with Mod W. And we have our wallpaper here. Now if we open up a terminal, you can see also transparency is working. Now let's open up our configuration file quickly. Let's type in vim and then .spectrwm.conf and hit enter. And I go back here at the top of the file with Control B and change some of the things. Now, as I said before, I'm not going to go too in-depth right now about this configuration file. We will look at this a little bit more in-depth in the next tutorial about this window manager. But for now, I'm just going to configure some of the things to customize it just a little bit more. The first thing I want to do is actually to disable the border width because I actually don't want it. So to do this, we can go down here where it's window decoration and remove this hashtag to enable the function and set this to 0. So number 1 means is active, number 0 means is inactive. So I don't need to worry about the others. What I'm going to do also is to change the region padding, which is going to give a little bit more gaps between the windows. So I'm going to uncomment this line here, and I'm going to set the parameter, let's say, to 3. And the same goes for the title gap. So I'm going to remove the hashtag here and replace also this one with 3. And then I'm going to scroll down to enable also our status bar here on top. So I'm going to enable the first option here, enable bar enabled. And I'm going to enable also the fonts on our bar by deleting the hashtag here. Now the Terminus fonts, we already installed it at the beginning, so it should be fine. Now in the next tutorial, we are going to have a look more in depth about the bar action, because we can define a script which will run on the top of the bar basically. But as I said, we are going to look at this in the next tutorial. So we can save the file and exit Vim. We can reload our configuration here by hitting Mod Q. And as you can see, the border around the window is gone. We have some gaps. So if we open up now a new terminal with Mod Shift Enter, we have gaps in between our windows. Now let me close them up and clean up here the terminal. And let me type in here terminal 1. I'll open up a new terminal and call it terminal 2. I'll open up also a third one and I will call this terminal 3. Now, if you want to move, for example, terminal 3 to the third workspace, we hit Mod Shift and 3. And you can see the window is gone. And if we hit now Mod 3, we are going to go to the third workspace. We are on the third workspace and our terminal 3 is here. Now, if we want to bring it back to our first workspace, we hit Mod Shift 1 and we hit Mod 1 to go back to the first workspace and our terminal 3 is there. So let me close this terminal up. To increase borders of one terminal or the other, we can hit Mod L or Mod H to decrease the size. And to cycle between terminals, we can hit Mod K. You can see now the focus terminal is terminal 2. And now that I hit Mod K, the focus terminal is terminal 1. So let me close terminal 2 and clean up this text. Now we want to give another touch here to our configuration by installing also a small file manager. So let's install this by typing in sudo pacman-s. And the one I'm going to install is pcman file manager, which is very light for a window manager. So it's the perfect solution. And then we can hit enter our sudo password, and proceed with the installation. Now let's open up the window manager by hitting Mod P and typing in pcman fm and hit enter. And here we have our file manager working for us. So right now it doesn't look particularly attractive, although this is really a matter of personal preference, but we could install actually here a theme because we installed a package already before when we installed the window manager called lxappearance, which is allowing us to configure our themes as well. So let me close the file manager and search here for lxappearance and hit enter. So you can see right now there is nothing in here. We just have one theme. We have basically no use for colors. We have only one icon theme and so on. So let's change this very quickly. Let's install a theme. I'm going to install in my case the Materia theme because it's one of my favorites. So I'm going to type in sudo pacman-s materia-gtk-theme. And the icon theme I want to use is the papyrus-icon-theme. And then we can hit enter. Now we proceed with installation by hitting enter. It's going to take a moment here to download and install. There you go. Now we can open up again lxappearance, so mod P and then lxappearance. Now you can see we have more themes available to us, and I'm going to choose Materia Dark. And then go to icon theme and choose Papyrus Dark. So this one looks better to me, and click apply. Now we can close lxappearance and open up again our file manager. So pcman fm, and you can see how it looks like. To me, it looks a little bit more elegant. So we can close this up. Now, if you have multiple monitors, there is something that we can use here in our window manager. If you remember, in our xinit.rc file, we used the xrandr command to configure the resolution for my display. However, there is another way to do this, and that's with another package called arandr. So let's type in sudo pacman-s and then arandr, and hit enter. Proceed with installation, and the program is installed. And now let's search for it by hitting mod P and then type in arandr, and hit enter. And you can see here what happens. So I have only one display in my VM here. So if you have multiple displays, they will appear here and you can configure them separately. Now, what is important here, what you can do is right-clicking on the display and then go to resolution and define the resolution you want for each display. In my case, this is already correct. And if you have multiple displays, you can repeat the process. Once you have done that, you can click here on the save icon. And you can see it's going to be saved under a new directory called .screenlayout. And this is going to be saved as a shell script. So in my case, I'm going to call this display and then click save. Now I can close arandr and I need to make the script executable. So I'm going to type in the terminal here chmod +x and then .screenlayout. This is the directory that arandr created. And the script is, in my case, display.sh and hit enter. Now I need to edit again my xinit.rc file. So to do this, I can type in vim.xinit.rc and hit enter. And I'm going to go down here at the end of the file. And I'm going to replace actually this xrender command with the new script that we just created. So let me delete this line and enter insert mode here. And I need to tell the system where the script is. So I'm going to type in here the $sign and the home variable to define my home directory, and then /.screenlayout, which is the directory created by arandr, and then /display.sh. Then we can save the file and exit Vim. We can exit once our window manager by hitting Mod Shift Q. And let's try to start it again by typing startx. And you can see the resolution is working fine, and this is going to work also on other monitors. You can see also on the bar we have a slightly different font because we enable the terminus font on our status bar. Now, a few key bindings before we wrap up this basic tutorial. The first one, as we already seen, is Mod Shift Enter to start the terminal. To close the window is Mod W. To restart the window manager directly is Mod Q. To quit the window manager is Mod Shift Q. And let me start up again. To toggle the status bar, you hit Mod B. And to lock your screen, you're going to hit Mod Shift Delete. Now, this is the xlock that we installed when we installed the window manager. It's not particularly attractive, but it gets the job done. In the next tutorial, we are going to install another lock screen, which is better than this one. So don't worry about that. So let's hit enter here and enter our password and go back to our desktop. And this is going to do it for this basic tutorial on how to install the Spectre window manager. In the next tutorial about this window manager, we are going to go more in depth about the status bar, about the configuration file, and also we are going to install, as I said before, a better lock screen for our window manager. So there you go, this is the basic install of the Spectre window manager. As I said in the intro, this is the basic installation, and in the next one we are going to configure this even further. I hope you liked this video, guys. If you did, please hit the like button below and subs to the channel if you haven't already. Subs always helps us out. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by visiting our Patreon website, or you can donate via PayPal to our website as well. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.